A few weeks ago, I was with my little girl and we were just making grilled cheese sandwiches, and she's just like, flipping them with the spatula. And it's a normal, everyday thing. But I was like looking at it and thinking about it, watching her cute little hand do it. And I was like, this is joy. This is a good life. And I'm so grateful I get to be her mom. What a beautiful child she is. It's so sweet to have these experiences with her. What a gift to be a mother. And I just held on to it and let it like wash over me. And because I did that for just a few seconds, I remembered it at the end of the day. And I'm still remembering it, and that was 2 weeks ago. And it was a normal, everyday thing. So when we walk a path of gratitude, our brain starts tricking us into believing that our life is good. And we start to think about the things that we wish were good, and we're creating them into like reality.
Hello, it's your friend Lizzy, and today feels really special. There are some conversations you walk into knowing they're going to shift something in you. And this was one of them for me. Sitting across from Ralphie Jacobs of Simply on Purpose felt like sitting with royalty, the quiet, steady, heaven-backed kind. She carries her voice online with such humility and grace that the whole room here just felt sacred. In our conversation, we talked about gentle parenting, how to make the holidays magical without spending a dime, why motherhood is the greatest gift, and how trials help us find and refine our voice. We also dove into boundaries, burnout, and knowing when you're offering, even if imperfect, is enough. This is one of those episodes that stays with you. Ralphie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Lizzy, for having me here.
Yes, I am so honored. We said this a little bit off camera, but I don't know if there's any place on earth where when you're sad, you feel sadder, or when you're happy, you feel happier than in your home. And you have done so much work to make homes happier. And so I'm just grateful that I get to have you on and share you, but what a gift to our community, to my community, to get to learn from you today. So thank you.
It's my pleasure to be here.
So let's start with just a little background about you.
Yeah, man, I have a little bit of a unique story to tell. I'm from a big family of 9, and I'm the oldest girl. I have 5 older brothers. And when my dad was in his 30s, he was diagnosed with MS, and he was in a wheelchair by the time I was about 5. And so I grew up with a dad that was disabled, and my mom only had a high school diploma, so she went quickly back to school, and she excelled at that. She got a bachelor's and 2 master's degrees, and then a PhD in child psychology. So it's been a unique ride to be a part of that, but also it's helped me become the person that God needs me to be, helped me to learn from my father to look for the flowers when maybe all the rest of us can see weeds, and to be grateful for the simplest things in life and to really savor them and enjoy them, because he had to. His world was so tiny. He just was in 2 bedrooms back and forth in his wheelchair most of the time, and loved his movies, just loved the simple life. And that's what I grew up with. And then a mother who was determined to have the naughty kids in her house. And she loved having the naughty kids because she knew how to love them in a way that would make a difference. And so that's how I grew up. And it's been hard in a lot of ways, but also I'm so grateful because it's helped me to become what God needs me to be, and to have a passion and really care about what I am able to teach every day.
How did that impact you and what you wanted to do? Did that directly lead to like, I want to share this online? What was the path like?
Yeah, that was such a unique path. I actually tell people often I stumbled and tripped and fell into Simply on Purpose, which is the platform that I have. I started teaching parenting classes locally, just in my neighborhood. And there was just a need for it. People that wanted skills, and I was ready to learn more too. I really care about development and how children grow up. and how their brains grow. And we're learning so much more about how to help a brain thrive and how to help children to learn to love to behave well, not that they just do the thing that you want them to do, but that they choose it because they love it. That's a really important thing to distinguish those two differences. So I started teaching, and then word got out, and I taught at another ward, and then I taught in another ward, and then I started teaching at the stake level. And
Which, for those of you listening in who aren't, we share the same faith backgrounds, so we always throw around easy terms.
yes,
So like a local congregation, which is basically
congregation.
people in just your area, and then a stake would be like to multiple congregations.
Yeah.
So word was getting out.
Word was getting out.
Yeah.
And it was obviously an answer that a lot of people wanted, and a lot of parents were desperate for it. And I thought to myself, how can I do more? The people that found the answers, it changed their lives, and I wanted to help. And so I kept praying about it, like how can I find the people that need these answers? And it was April of 2017 when Elder Christofferson gave a talk about being a voice of warning. And he talked about strong families should not feign neutrality, but to actually be a voice of warning and to speak up for families and how important they are to society and to just having joy and peace in general. And it was like a lightning bolt in my heart. That's what you need to do, Ralphie. So I pulled on my big girl pants and changed my handle on Instagram to Simply on Purpose, which was a name that my sister chose. I was like, which one? And my sister chose that one. So that's forever what I'm going to be known as. And I started teaching. It was right when Instagram stories started. It was right when there was video on Instagram. So the timing was perfect, and God's timing is perfect. And I taught there. Not very many people were doing that, where they were using that platform to educate. It was really more about showing their vacations and how their kids were growing up and what Halloween looked like and Christmas. And I started teaching about positive parenting and how to use your ability to be positive to create momentum for behavior and what to pay attention to, what to let go of. And it was just a unique voice that a lot of people hadn't heard before. And so it grew and grew organically pretty quickly. And that's what happened. It was just the most tangible way I can share for how God magnifies your simple willingness to try. And I almost think that he chose me because then he can point the finger and say, yep, that was God. That was me, God. I did it. And it wasn't Ralphie, it was me, because I was just willing. I was just willing to do it. I was willing to teach it. I love to teach, and I love kids, and I wanted them to grow up happy. I wanted them to grow up in a place that they felt loved and that beckoned them home. And I knew the importance of it, so I was willing to be uncomfortable and be brave and give it a try. And it worked out really, really well. And I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of it. It's been such an honor.
What a beautiful story. I know we're going to get into some of the parenting points, but I love thinking of the women listening in and saying, I want to do good in the world. I want to make a difference, right? And to recognize, just start right where you are. What are the needs right in your neighborhood with those right around you? And what do you have to share? And if you start with needs and you start with heart and listen to the call, if and when it comes, that's all we need to do. We don't need to worry so much about missing something. Just show up where you are and help where you are.
Yeah, I used to do this whole campaign called I Am This Kind of Mom. And it was just all about leaning into what you do well and bring your kids along with you. There's so many things that I don't do well. I have no hand-eye coordination whatsoever. I'm terrible at volleyball. There's a lot of things that I stink at. And so I just was willing to lean into the things that I really cared about. And I think that that's all God needs us to do. He calls us in all different ways. No, not everybody needs to do what I'm doing, and I need other people to create this world in a dynamic way for my own children. And I think that sometimes mothers, women in general especially, feel the pressure to be the stereotypical mom, where they want to be home and they want to nurture and they want to do all the things that I teach about, and they want to do them well. But God needs lots and lots and lots of different moms. He needs lots of different people and women that are doing things that they do well, and that they bring them to the world in a way that it brings light and lifts other people up in different ways.
What's the hardest thing about what you do?
The hardest thing about what I do is to not give too much of my identity to social media, to just be okay with putting things out there and just letting it go. And whether it does well, that's wonderful. That's good. That's what people needed. And I'm grateful that new people saw it. But if it doesn't do well, it's still okay, because the people that needed it are the people that saw it. There's so many times where I've traveled somewhere and to teach a class, and somebody will stay after and talk to me for a long time. And Heavenly Father will say, it was because of that one person that you're here. That's why you're here, is for that one person. So to be okay with wherever God needs it to go, to just say, take the wheel and make it happen, and to not feel like my success or my value is based on an algorithm, to just be happy with the platform and to feel a great privilege to have a platform. Actually, last year around this time, I lost my platform. It got deleted. Instagram deleted it and said it would be permanently removed. And that it was only gone for 24 hours. I thought it was gone forever. It got flagged incorrectly. But miracles happened and it got back on. But it taught me so much about what an honor it is to have so many people's ears. What a privilege it is. So I wanted to talk about the things that matter, and to use that platform to talk about things that matter, things that are eternal, things that can change a life, and things that are generational, that can move a mind and move a body, move a heart forward. And so I changed things that way. And it also taught me about to just not give my heart to Instagram, and to just be happy and with how it performs, no matter what the likes or the comments say. Just be grateful that the people that needed it saw it, and that I'm so privileged to be able to talk to whoever wants to listen.
Can you share one of the changes you made? Was there something concrete that you decided at that time?
Yeah, sure. I used to have a really solid content calendar and worked with more brands, and I've cleaned that up quite a bit. I just love to be able to use inspiration and be flexible and say, God, what do you want me to talk about today or tomorrow? And there's things that are happening going on in the world that people care about, or parents are worried about, and they want to know how to help their kids feel safe, or how to help their kids feel like it's going to be all right. So being flexible enough to pivot, and it's really hard to do that if you have brand deals, or if you have a lot of affiliates and promises that you've made to other people. And so it takes courage to do that, and to just clean it up and just say, I'm just going to talk about what I feel like matters most, come what may. And it's been miraculous. It's been so freeing. I feel like 50 pounds have come off my shoulders, and to just be so happy with what I have, and to feel gratitude for it, not wishing for more, but just deciding that whatever I have is enough, and be grateful for what I have.
I think about what originally led you to do it, that comment to not feign neutrality and to say what you actually believe is true and what's on your heart. And I've been encouraged lately as I've seen more and more companies and individuals decide that they're going to have a voice and not be scared of saying the thing and not feign neutrality. And I think it's easy for us to say, well, women who are influencers should always do that, but the cost is real.
It is.
If you have sponsors that then won't show up, I've had this conversation happen so much that if you're going to talk about God, you may be canceled. There are certain people who won't affiliate with you as a brand, right? Yeah. And I love when I see women do this, and I hope we don't, because they're not a traditional brand or company, devalue how much courage it takes to say, I'm going to stand for God and know that there are people who won't like that, or stand for family, or share certain things about the way to help your family that other people may not like or resonate with. And I've also been encouraged seeing more men in the workplace do this as well, and more companies do this as well. And in a way, take responsibility for the opportunity that they have.
Yeah, I love how you said that, to take responsibility. We do have a responsibility to do that, to share. One example that I have is I have a daughter that's on a mission for our church, and she's serving in Costa Rica for 18 months. She's left her home, and she's serving and loving the people in Costa Rica. So I've been sharing about that, about her being there and why she's there, and how it's volunteer and she's paying her way and all of that. And I lost probably 5,000 followers while sharing it. But I did have somebody send me a DM that said, hey, I'm not a member of your religion, but I saw a missionary. She was at the library, and I went up to her, and I just baked some cookies that were in my bag, and I gave them to her and told her that she was amazing for the choice that she made to go on a mission. And I just want you to know that. And I was like, that's it. That's all I needed. That's it. Like, that's why the responsibility to share and to just give exposure and to help people think a little bit differently, to change their perspective about all the things that we care about, right? Whether it be your children serving missions, or teaching parenting, or Jesus, whatever it is, that we have that privilege to be able to be brave enough to share what we really care about.
I've asked God a lot, like, how much do I talk about my faith specifically? How much do I talk about Christianity? How much do I talk about good values? Like, I am not as scared as I used to be, and I'm willing to talk about any of them. And it's been interesting, and I don't have answers yet. It's just maybe the flexibility piece, right? Like, okay, what's right for today and what's good. But I think definitely moving and shifting that pendulum the other way, to say, the more people that do it, the more it's hard to silence.
Yeah.
Like, I think we will gain power as women of faith the more each one of us shares. Because it's one thing when it's one person, it's really easy to pick on one target. But when you have 5,000 targets, and all of these women are saying, I'm not afraid to say I'm a Christian, I'm not afraid to say I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is actually picked on than any other Christian faith. And every time I even mention that on a podcast, I get the same hate and lose thousands and then come back. And I mean, it's just like a bit of the roller coaster of sharing online. But I think if someone sees that I'm not scared, and then someone sees that you're not scared, and they're like, well, those are two members of this faith that I'm not a part of, but they seem kind of normal. I don't know if they think of that about me. They do about you. About me.
No, I'm definitely not normal, Lizzy.
But then think about the next time they see a third person, or the 10th, that stigma is going to change more and more. And then they may say, maybe religion is for my family. Maybe Jesus could be a part of my life, and they might meet another friend at the same time, because God works in funny ways. But like, come to my church with me, or come worship with me in this way. Like, we need to take, maybe again, back to that responsibility, take responsibility that what I do may not move the needle for everyone or anyone in all the way, but those drops change people and their perception.
Yeah, it's a little seed, right? We're sowing a seed, and they get to decide when it grows. But even if it's, I think for me, because I'm on a platform, I have a niche where I'm talking about family all the time, and then I talk about Jesus, it's like, oh, that makes sense, that you love your family so much.
Yeah.
and you also love Jesus. And so opening that door to them to help them to see it in a unique way, I'm grateful to be able to have a unique platform to do that for them.
So good. Well, let's turn to parenting for just a minute.
Yes.
And we're heading into the holiday season when this is being recorded. Something we talked about again before. I'm trying not to do this on my episodes where I'm like, well, we talked offline because it's like, you weren't a part of that conversation. Sorry.
It's private.
It's a private. But something that I thought about is the holidays are coming up and there's maybe more stress and there's more things to navigate and more things to think through both as parents and as children on how we approach the world and giving and service and gifting and all the things. Let's maybe turn the light to that for just a minute, some advice you'd have at the times of holidays. And then I would love a couple other points and tips you would have for families if they're like, maybe think about the families just starting out or the family who's in a really bad place and saying, I just don't know where to go from here. And we could tackle them next.
Yeah.
Let's talk holidays.
Gosh. Yes. Holidays first. What I think is so amazing about children is the most important thing to them is parental attention. It's so highly researched that the number one reinforcer for children is parental attention. So if we think about that for the holidays, and holidays get so busy, and we're throwing money at all the things, what a beautiful truth to know that all our kids really want is our time. That's it. So easy. It's free. I know it, we have to put things aside, but it's free. And we actually create this printable called Gifts of Togetherness. And it's just a little advent that we do in December, where it's the simplest, easiest activity that you can do in a day that takes like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Like, okay, we're going to sing around the Christmas tree and hold hands, or we're going to wad up pieces of paper and pretend there's snow because we live in Texas and we don't have it.
Those of us in Utah, we got a lot of that.
You're like, well, let's go outside. We'll go outside.
But paper's more fun. That's actually more imaginative. My kids would probably prefer that, and it's warm too. So
exactly. Have a snowball fight with the paper. And the reason why that matters so much is that the togetherness fills a child's cup in a way that nothing else can. If you have a kiddo that's struggling with behavior, just give them your time and it will fill up their cup. It creates bookends for them that says, I can create space for you in this home. You don't have to fight for it because I see you, and what you care about, I care about. What matters to you and what's important to you is important to me too. So I'm going to create space for you, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to have positive memories together. And it's going to take just a few minutes, and I'll fill your cup right back up, and then you're going to behave better tomorrow and then the next day, because they just they want to feel seen. So if you're worried about the complexity of the holiday, just remember they really just want your time. So if you can just give them a little bit of your time, those gifts of togetherness, and you can have them be anything that you want, but slow down and savor that time with them. It's so magical. I love it. What a gift the holidays are, to be able to just sit down and read a book together, or to play music together. And I think that we overcomplicate things as adults far too much. We think that we have to work harder to buy the really nice toy, when the reality is they just want us to sit down and play dolls with them for 10 minutes. That's it. That's all they need.
I just could feel a collective sigh from everyone listening in. Just like, oh, it's actually then counterproductive if I go spend time getting all the things and doing all the things, because then it's less likely that they're going to get my time.
Yeah.
So you just gave us all permission, just like actually do less and just sit on the ground with them.
Yeah.
How about that?
Simplify it. There's this book called Simplicity Parenting, which is one of my favorite books. And what he does is, he used to be a psychologist that would prescribe Ritalin and all these things for children that had ADHD and stuff like that. And he was like, wait a minute, I'm just masking what's really going on. Let me figure out how to get to the root of it. And what he did is he would just go into a child's house and he would simplify their life. That's it. He would simplify their schedule. He would simplify their toy room. He'd simplify their bedroom. So they would sleep better, they'd play more deeply, they would have more home time, and it fixed what needed to be fixed. The children that were diagnosable were now like on a normal range.
Wow.
So really, it's not just like throwing out and be like, oh, kumbaya. It's really working when we simplify things for our kids. They love it. Kids love simplicity.
So powerful. Okay, let's speak to the mom listening in now who's like, I need to turn this ship around, or who's just starting out. Like, what's one thing you would say? Where would you start?
I think the biggest shift is realizing that the old way of parenting, like fear-based parenting or authoritarian parenting, it feels really reinforcing because if we yell and we say, knock it off, they will stop. But long term, it just doesn't work. It's not effective because it is short term and it's shallow. And fear never teaches our children to love, to do what's right, to love, to behave well. So we kind of need to turn the bus completely around and learn how to look for what our children are doing well rather than what's going wrong. It's very, very natural for our brains to fix the things that are broken. That's our primitive brain, right? Look for what's going wrong and get rid of the danger. But what is so much more effective, there is so much behavioral science research. If you look for what your children are doing well, then 80% of misbehavior disappears. If parents are just really good at building on strengths and saying, oh, you're working really hard on your handwriting, I love that. Way to go. If we can say that to them, it will help them to not hit their sibling later on in the day because all behaviors are connected, they're linked together. And when a child feels better about their life in general, they start to just behave better in general. Good behavior generalizes. So it's like the biggest thing that I feel like I teach over and over and over again is to just learn to look for what is going right rather than for what's going wrong. As soon as you can do that, things will change. And not only for the child, but for you too, because you start feeling better about your life. When we walk around just looking for the things that are broken or messy or frustrating and annoying, that's not fun. Who wants to be the warden all the time? Who wants to be like the one that's yelling and grumpy and frowning? Not a fun way to live. So if you can retrain your brain to start looking for the small things that are going right, and I know you've talked about this before, Lizzy, but like learning how to savor it and hold on to it. A few weeks ago, I was with my little girl and we were just making grilled cheese sandwiches and she's just like, flipping them with the spatula. And it's a normal, everyday thing. But I was like looking at it and thinking about it, watching her cute little hand do it. And I was like, this is joy. This is a good life. And I'm so grateful I get to be her mom. What a beautiful child she is. It's so sweet to have these experiences with her. What a gift to be a mother. And I just held on to it and let it like wash over me. And because I did that for just a few seconds, I remembered it at the end of the day. And I'm still remembering it. And that was 2 weeks ago. And it was a normal, everyday thing. So when we walk a path of gratitude, our brain starts tricking us into believing that our life is good. And we start to think about the things that we wish were good, and we're creating them into like reality. When I say to my child, and I speak light into her, and I say, you are such a kind sister. You're such a loving sister. Just because I say that out loud, it creates it into reality. Because we're creators. Did you know that as parents, we can create? It's a beautiful gift that God has given us, that we're part of his creation and we can continue to create by the words that we say to our kids. And so, just walking that path of abundance rather than scarcity, it changes your life as a parent. You're just so much more fulfilled. You walk around lighter. You have a smile on your face. Your shoulders are squared up. You're swinging your arms. Like, it's just a better way to live. And it's not, sometimes parents have a difficult time with this, like, oh, I'm just faking it till I make it. I feel like I'm not asking parents to do that. I feel like I'm asking them to choose it. Because thoughts are a choice, right? We can choose our thoughts. Make a decision. decide that that's how you want to live.
That's so good. That's so good, Ralphie. Because it's true. It's just as real as the other side, as the negativity. You just chose the negativity.
Yeah.
So were you faking it until you made it and the negative? You were just faking it until you were really mad enough that you meant it that much?
And you created it too when
it.
you're angry too. You're such a picky eater. You're such a bossy kid. You're such a diva. You're so mean to your brother. Yeah. We create those things too. So you're right.
I could fake it either way, or I could just actually choose which one I'm seeing and creating.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so powerful. Being an online creator, I know a little bit of. There's the pressures, like you talked about, socials and all of that kind of stuff. But I think we could really broaden this to any woman who's creating something, right? And getting maybe not instantaneous feedback like you get online, but in any type of work that we do. How have you balanced, and balance may or may not be the right word, right? But the work you actually are talking about that's most important is your family life. And then you're doing these other things. Are there any strategies that you could give to help women as it's like, this is the biggest impact I make in my home, and also this is a big impact I'm making in other women's homes and families' homes? How have you navigated that in a way that you feel proud of? What have you chosen there, or what are the hard lessons you've learned? You can pick either. I learn a lot better when I make mistakes. So if you have one of those, that's welcome too.
That's what I say all the time when I'm teaching. It's like, well, when I make a mistake as a parent and also being a parent educator, it's actually really nice because those mistakes weren't totally worthless. I can use them as examples of what not to do.
It's great content.
It's great content. Don't do this. It did not go well. Everyone is so different with their capacity and their desire to create outside of their home. I never intended to be a creator outside of my home. I always wanted to just create in my home. I wanted to have that be my full-time focus.
Same.
And I loved it as long as it lasted. I didn't start Simply on Purpose till my littlest was 3. And so it was a joy to be able to focus 100% on my family. And I used to make homemade tortillas, you guys. I don't do that anymore. But it was so joyful. And then when I started Simply on Purpose, I felt a huge responsibility to create outside of the home. But I didn't want to have my family be a cost. I wasn't willing to do it. And I know that sounds kind of negative, like, are there women out there that are creating that their family is a cost? And I'm not saying that. I'm saying for me, it was really important to be able to do a lot of the things that I was already doing with my kids and not stop doing those things. So I just decided when it was enough. I think that's something that we just have to learn, is to decide what's enough and to not just keep pushing for more. My husband, I wish I could remember what book he read, but he was sharing with me an experience that he read in a book about a man who was walking around a business event. And there was all these CEOs and multimillionaires, and a reporter went up to him and said, "Don't you wish that you had all the things that these other people have?" And he said, "No, because I'll have something that they won't ever have." And he said, "Well, what is that?" The journalist asked, "What's that?" And the man said, "I have enough." And that's kind of what I've just had to decide, is working for 4 hours or whatever it is while my kids are at school is enough. It's enough. We could keep doing more. We could, and I could help more families, but I'm just relying on Heavenly Father to tell me when it's enough and to push me and encourage me when I need to. And I think that that's the biggest thing, is to just open your heart and be willing to do what He wants you to do. It's kind of nerve-wracking because people ask me, "What's your plan for Simply on Purpose? What's the next step?" And Lizzy, I don't know. I never know. I never know. I just say, what does He want me to do? I'll do it. And I just wait for the tapping on my heart for Him to start trying to convince me to do something. When my audio course launched, it was in November of 2019. Can you believe that? Right before the pandemic. I was doing all of these in-person events before that. That's all I was doing, was in-person events. And for 9 months, he was like, do an audio course, do an audio course. And it launched right before the pandemic. And so now there were all these families that could still have what I taught in their home without having to go to an event. People from all over the world that could still listen to it. And he knew that. And he knew that it would take 9 months to convince me to do it. So I'm still willing. I'm still willing to do it. And lives shift, right? And they change, and our priorities change, and what he needs from us changes. And I just have to keep asking myself, who do you need me to love today? Who do you need me to love? And I'm willing to do whatever you need me to do. And right now it's leaning a little bit more into my family. So work slows down. Maybe that will change. But our heart is just has to be open to it. Otherwise, it's just going to be frustrating, whatever we do. And I've learned, right, that just gets frustrating when we're just trying to create our own path, because his is so much better. So much better.
And he's the only one who can really see ahead.
Yeah, right.
I sure can't.
Right. Yeah. He knows what people need 5 years before they need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what's coming in the world 9 months
Yeah.
before the
9
pandemic
months.
hits, you know?
Yeah. He knew. Yeah.
What a beautiful thing. And again, even as parents, if you're not creating outside your home, but also knowing he knows what your children will need 9 months and 5 years and 10 years from now. And both the hard lessons that will help them become who they're becoming, but also you think about little stories you remember that someone told you, or an experience that you remember. And I think God is so gracious to say, just tuck this one away. Here's a teacher for this time, but just wait. In 10 years, you'll go through something and you'll remember that person, or then you'll meet someone new. And so also to trust that in our parenting, he knows what's coming. And if you felt to share something with a child at a time where you didn't even know they needed it, it might be because they're open to it now, and they won't be in a year when they actually need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because one of the greatest things that I've learned is that this is actually from Clayton Christensen.
He's one of my heroes.
Oh my gosh, he's so good.
He actually is
isn't
the
he?
reason I'm online.
Really?
Yeah.
He's amazing. Yeah. Oh, his book about how you measure your life.
So good.
So good. But he tells a story in there about how our children will learn when they're ready to learn, not when we're ready to teach them. So the goal with parents is just to be present and be available. It's hard to do that when you're managing a million things. And so maybe just step back a little bit and check yourself and make sure that you're still being able to be present when they're there, because we don't get to decide when they're ready to learn.
So beautiful. You are just a beautiful soul, Ralphie.
You're so sweet.
Truly.
Thank you.
You just are this nurturing soil that it just feels like being around you, you just want to be better. And that's exactly what you help parents with, right? Like help their children to know how to love being good. Yeah. But you can just feel that in your aura, like it emanates from you. And what a gift to be with you today.
Thank you.
If I handed you the microphone to the world, what would be the one message today that you'd want to share with them?
Well, I love that you talk about religion on your podcast. So I'm going to say this, is that if you could do anything as a parent, it would be to teach your children Jesus. And how do you teach them Jesus? You teach them by being like him. So how are we going to be like Jesus? We're going to learn to better be in control of ourselves, better manage our emotions, and to realize that we're the model for all behavior, that they look to us for everything, and that we teach them in a loving way, and we're willing to teach them over and over again, and that we teach them like Christ would, on our knees with our arms open wide, and with a soft and patient voice, a voice that redirects and moves the behavior forward and talks and points to the thing that you want them to do. And the last thing that I think that parents can do to teach children Jesus is to just look for what they're doing well and let them know that you love it, that you love who they are, that you see them where they are, and that you'll meet them there, and that you'll encourage them, and that your number one job is to just speak to the best in your child and help them to believe that it's within them too. Because if we believe it and they hear it from us, they'll start to behave that way.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
What a gift you are. I know there are going to be a lot of parents listening in saying, okay, that wasn't enough time with Ralphie today. How can they be taught more by you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. Simply on Purpose is my handle. And I teach there a lot. I have a subscription called Teach Me How, which is built to help children learn positive behaviors. It's written for children to be the teachers. So about second grade language. And they're just so beautiful, hands-on, kinesthetic, and positive, helping children to learn how to love those behaviors that will bring them a lot of happiness. And so, yeah, I'm there and I'm teaching. Come follow, DM me. I'd love to say hello and become your friend.
So great. Well, I'm going to subscribe. I'm just going to say that right now because I want more of this in my life too. Thank you for coming on and spending time and for all the good that you do in the world.
Thank you, Lizzy.
I'm leaving this conversation reminded that parenting doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful, and that the smallest shifts made with love and intention can change the whole atmosphere of a home. If you aren't already following Ralphie, go find her at Simply on Purpose on Instagram. She will change your parenting, truly. And I'll be continuing this conversation over at the Lizzy Jensen Show. Come tell me what stood out to you, what you're trying in your home, and how this episode met you today. Thanks for being here, friend. It's an honor to learn with you.